Testing. Sound should be good, I think. Alright, sound should be good. Alright. So if there's any problems with the sound on YouTube, just let me know. So we'll get started here on Bitcoin about an hour late. But hey, we're still going live. So let's look at Bitcoin right now. I'll give everyone about a minute to join, because it did just put out the alert that we are going live. And yeah, without further ado, how's everyone? Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend. Obviously the crypto market is struggling a little bit to move up here and to hold these support levels. So it is looking like we're going down back to the downside, which is unfortunate. But we'll start out with Bitcoin, and then I'll go on and look at the altcoin requests that you guys have, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna get Bookmap going, and then that will be going once we get done with looking at Bitcoin. If you guys are new, appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe button, or follow if you guys are on TikTok watching. I appreciate if you guys also hit the likes on both TikTok and YouTube. So let's go look at Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is sitting at $23,000. You lost a $24,500 support. You lost a $23,400 support, which I don't know why there's no support line there. There should be. But yeah, you lost that support level, and you are currently moving to the downside. So now the next support that you got bounced off of a few days ago, about a week ago, is 21.5. That is the next support to the downside unless you get back above 23.4. The RSI still has more downside to go, and the moving averages still have more room to come back together. Usually you want the moving averages to be really close together for another sign that you're ready for another move to the upside. Although the daily chart is looking very bullish for Bitcoin as far as the 200-day moving average is going, you're well above it, which is that yellow line. Usually in bull runs, you're well above it on the daily time frame. So that is a good sign. Let's go to the smaller time frames to see what could happen. I think short term, we're still going to go down to the next support. On the forward chart, you just lost the 200-day moving average. That's not a good sign. And, of course, you obviously lost that support. So I'm looking for 21.5 to be the next stop for Bitcoin. Even the 4 hours kind of suggesting that as well. But the RSI is due for a leg up. So we'll see what happens. 1 hour chart. Got overbought. Made a lower high. That's bearish. And well below the 200-day moving average as well. And the 15-minute chart, it's getting overbought, making a lower high again, I believe. Yes, it is. Made a lower low as well, and you're well below the 200-day moving average on the 15-minute chart as well. So short term, it's looking bearish for Bitcoin. I think at some point in the next week, Bitcoin sees 21.5. That's kind of what I'm calling, just looking at the chart. But of course, I also like to pair what I see on the chart with Bookmap. So let's go look at Bookmap. Bookmap basically tells you where all the liquidity is at on Bitcoin. So just right now, you see there's some liquidity at 22.6, at 22,000. There's some buy orders. Let's see if there's any. There's not really much at 21.5. If we keep zooming out, you see a lot down there at 15,000 still. So short term though, Bookmap is probably suggesting the next. It makes sense if we go down to 22.6. But I don't see a lot of liquidity at 21.5, which I'm surprised by. So Bookmap really isn't giving you clear direction where we're going. But if you zoom way out, there's a lot more liquidity down at 15K than there's up high. So we'll see what happens short term. I think the top is in, unfortunately, for Bitcoin, and unless you can get back above 23.4. So short term, I'm calling into early next week or even mid next week, late next week possibly. It might take a whole week for this to play out, but I'm looking. Our next target to the downside is 21.5. I expect that to be hit. Probably even. I think if you don't get above 23.4, you're going to go well below 21.5. But 21.5 is the next support level to the downside. I would expect to bounce there. But that's probably, I think for right now, Bitcoin is back in a downtrend, unfortunately. So I'm calling that top at 25.3. And that's just kind of what we got going on right now for Bitcoin. If there's any altcoin requests, let me know and I'll look at them. A coin I'm watching is Optimus. I am in on this. And so March 1st is when Tesla has their news day or whatever you want to call it, and they talk about all the new things they're working on, and part of what Elon Musk is doing is making a new robot called Optimus. That's the name of it. That's the name of the project at least. And so they made a coin around surrounding this. So it's kind of a meme coin, but it's a coin I'm invested in, and I think come March 1st, if he goes in depth about this, I think it could do quite well. It's definitely a speculative play, but that's something I'm watching. It has a decently high market cap compared to what I usually show on here, $4.5 million, I believe. So and the volume is 170,000. So overall, you know, risky play for sure, but it's something I'm watching. So Craig wants to look at quant. Let's go look at that. So the first request is quant. If I can find it. So quant right now, let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart right now on quant is sitting at $130. Let me just keep zooming out here a little bit. $130. So the next support to the downside for quant is $118 to the resistance, which is obviously it's a downtrend, but if it were to reverse, 148, 150 is the next resistance. So that's what I'm looking at right now. You're trying to get the small bounce off of $128, which is where the 200-day moving average is on the daily time frame. So we'll see if we can get that bounce there, or if that will hold. The more times you test this support, the more likely you are to break it to the downside. So I'm looking for that to not hold. I would expect to move to at least 120, 118 on quant short term. Now, the daily chart is running out of steam to fall to the downside, but if Bitcoin starts dumping, it won't be hard for these coins to dump. 4-hour chart also, you know, it made a lower high. It's in a downtrend. It's below the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart. It's below it on the 1-hour chart, and you are in a downtrend. Maybe getting a double bottom to push you a little bit higher, but I think eventually you're going to even lose 128 and still come down to 118, 120. And if the 15-minute chart, if you care about that, such a small time frame, it's still making another lower high. So if you're looking for a reverse on the small time frames, it's not here yet. Again, the next support's 120. That's probably the next time I'd really care about looking at it again. But that is kind of it for quant. Quant to 120 is my prediction based on the charts. It's in a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. On the smaller time frames, it's getting overbought without breaking a previous high. And 4-hour chart and lower, it's below the 200-day moving average, and it's about to be below the 200-day moving average on the daily chart as well. So to me, it just doesn't look good right now for quant. So quant right now is it looks bearish to me. So that is my. I would be looking for 120 this week on quant. So appreciate the likes. If you guys have any requests on TikTok, let me know. Otherwise, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So we went over Bitcoin, we went over quant, we talked about optimism and what's going on March 1st with that. I made videos on Jasmine this morning, inverse finance, and there's something else I did. Oh, and ACH. So yeah. If there's I'll do a few more requests because I know it hasn't been a long stream, but usually my Saturday streams are longer than my Tuesday streams just because I have more time. But so we go live every single week, Tuesdays 8 p.m. Central Time, and then usually Saturdays it's 3 p.m. Central Time. Today was later, but that's when I attempt to go live. If I'm not going to go live or for some reason or delay, I do let you guys know in the Telegram group. That is free to join. The link to join that is in my description. And bio on TikTok. So yeah. So appreciate the follow, guys, on TikTok. So I'll go back to Bitcoin, just recap if you guys are just joining. I'm looking for Bitcoin, because you lost the support 23,400. I'm looking for Bitcoin to fall to the next support at $21,500. It just lost the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart. So, again, I think Bitcoin and the whole market's pretty bearish right now. I hate to say that. I really do. I was really hoping Bitcoin could just moon. But if we are bearish, and at the same time, if it makes new lows, below 15K, then it's a great place to make a lot of money by buying those dips. So, if you're already in positions, just DCA. If you're not, then I would still be looking for not lower lows. Well, I would be looking for 21.5 at least is the next step to the downside. So that's what I'm looking at right now for Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin's bearish, obviously altcoins will probably bleed out. And obviously another indicator that the crypto market is bearish is when less people join my TikTok live streams and YouTube live streams, because I know when it's pumping and everything's going up, there's a bunch of people here. When it's going down, there's maybe a few, So that's another way to look at it. So APT is another request that we have. So APT right now on KuCoin, I'll look at it on KuCoin. So on the daily chart, I have no clue what APT is. I'm just going to draw out the macro resistances that I see. And then we'll get started from there. So those are the 3 macro ones I'd see, right? You got, that's your, if you don't use the wicks, you got rejected right off of, what did it get up to? Right above 20. I mean, you could say $20 is a resistance. Right here, you had resistance when it first came out on KuCoin at basically, you could probably say it's $10. And then to the downside, you have support at 3. So $3, $10, and $20 are the supports and resistances on the daily chart to watch out for. You could even say you probably have some good support at $13. But obviously you didn't get much of a bounce there, and now you just lost it. I wouldn't say $13 is very strong support though. So right now on the daily chart, you are due for a bounce, but again, the next macro support, because you lost 13, would be about $10. The 4-hour chart, it's below 200-day moving average. 4 chart is due for a bounce, but again, you're nowhere near that macro support. 1-hour chart, same thing, below the 200-day moving average, making lower lows, lower highs. It is looking bad to me. And 15-minute chart, if you care about that time frame, again, lower lows, lower highs, macro downtrend. So if you just care about the long term, it doesn't look very good to me. I'm just going to kind of draw something here. I think it's really pushing it to call this a falling wedge, especially because you had a wick below it already. But that's a possible. I'll leave that drawing there, and if we ever come back and look at it, we can kind of see what happens with it. I would not call it a falling wedge because I just wouldn't. But if you're trying to be bullish on it, again, you're not near the support, so I just don't think it's going to play out. But if it were to play out, it does play out 68% of the time. I think in a bear market it's a lot less than that, but bull markets it's about 68% of the time. It plays out to the upside. Measure move is about $30, but yeah, it's a little bit pushing it. It's not a horrible falling wedge. I've seen worse. It could play out, but I think that as the entire crypto market is bearish, this is just less likely to play out. So just be aware of that. If you do enter the trade, just have a good stop loss in, because the next support is $10. So I would say that's a very high risk entry to be entering right now onto this possible falling wedge, just because you're nowhere near support. Appreciate the follow, Rush, and everyone else that has followed me. So that is APT. Right now, it's a high-risk trade if you do want to play that falling wedge. I would personally stay away from it. I think there's better trade setups out there, although there's not a lot because the market is bearish right now. So with that being said, guys, if there's any other requests, I'll do them. Otherwise, I guess that's kind of it. Pretty quick stream. But I'll do 1 more or 2 more requests, however many there is. It's just not a lot of people here as the market's going down, so I'm not going to stay here forever. But that's kind of what I'm looking at on APT. So Jasmine is another coin I follow. I go over a lot. I'm looking for this. It's below the 6/10 of a penny support. So if you didn't see my video, I'm looking for 5/10 of a penny is the next support to the downside. Until you get above 6/10 of a penny, you're not bullish on that. You're in a rising wedge that broke to the downside. Measure move actually did get hit at 57.5. It went down to about 57 or something. Maybe 57.5 was the low. So it didn't even really go to the top of the falling wedge, but it did dump to my measure move. So that's interesting. But anyways, with that being said, guys, I think I'm going to get out of here. It's not a lot of people here, probably because the market's going down. So I will be back. I will be back live Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully you all have a good rest of the weekend. Trade safe if you are trading, and DCA I would recommend investing long term, right? I still am not convinced though. The low is in, so take that information with a grain of salt. That's just my opinion, not financial advice. If you guys enjoyed this video or in this live stream, appreciate if you hit that like, subscribe, follow button if you guys, depending on if you guys are on YouTube or TikTok. And I will be back live Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. Until then, trade safe, have a great weekend, and of course, join the Telegram group. It is free to join, so no reason you shouldn't be in there. This is my play of the week. Optimus coin will come back on Tuesday and see how it's doing. Come back next Saturday and see how it's doing, and go and see if I was right or wrong about it. So that's what the one you guys can judge me on, is how it's at 46 right now. We'll see. I think next week it'll be higher, but we'll see. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday for our next live stream. Until then, trade safe and have a great weekend. And I'm going to end the TikTok live stream right now. Oh, and one more request. I guess I'll look at Maker. So right now, Maker is below the 200-day moving average. RSI is low, but again, your bear market, so just be cautious. It wasn't a nice uptrend for a while. You just broke that uptrend, by the way. The 4-hour chart, below the 200-day moving average. RSI is oversold. 1-hour chart, lower lows, lower highs. 15-minute chart, lower low just now, and probably about to be a lower highs. It's overbought and did not. The previous high was what is going on? Is it $692? Why is there no decimal points there? What is going on? Is it not? Well, that's weird. Okay. I mean, that's bizarre. All right, but anyways, Maker to me looks bearish right now. It's pretty simple. I basically just look at the trend and see what's going on with it. If the trend is not up, I would not be in a trade. The trend just broke, and it's probably about to start a bearish trend right here. We'll see if I'm right or wrong if we come back to look at this Tuesday. But to me, this looks bad. And I don't know why it doesn't have decimal points. Not that it really matters as long as we kind of know the general price, but that's weird. We'll try Coinbase. Coinbase has the decimal points. I've never seen that before. And this is where I usually look at, right? So you just lost the 720 support. The chart looks completely different. I mean, it's still breaking maybe not. It's still breaking the uptrend. So to me right now, it's bearish. Honestly, you could even say that's a rising wedge because you had resistance right there that you couldn't get above. Yeah, that was like almost a rising wedge. These break down 68% of the time, and I guess if you wanted to, you could get the measure move of what this would do if it broke out to the downside, which it did. Holy crap, that would take you exactly to $447. Look how TA works, exactly to my support. 447 is a measure move for a much lower low on the daily time frame. Maker looks extremely bearish on the daily time frame out of that rising wedge. You could just make this black so you could maybe see the rising wedge a little bit easier. But to me, that is the measure move of Maker to the downside. 447 is the measure move of this rising wedge. Extremely bearish on Maker. So that's Maker. If anything, I'd be looking for a short on Maker if you were trying to trade it, not a long. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. Guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll be back live Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. Until then, trade safe and have a great weekend.